And welcome into the TGI Friday edition of the Fun Astrology Podcast. You know, maybe things will slow down enough that I can get my sound effects back and we'll do a little applause in there. But just clap for yourself. Yay, we made it to Friday. We have a lot going on. We need to talk. So a lot of this starts tonight and then continues into tomorrow morning. Now, before we roll on the weekend and today, I wanted to just thank whoever one of you wrote this, saying, I've always been intrigued by astrology, though I really don't know a ton about it. I happened upon this podcast while searching for horoscope podcasts. Now that I've found it, I truly look forward to listening every single morning. It's light, it's fun, it's informative, and it just starts my day out in a positive way. What touched me about that is exactly in about 3 sentences what I intended for this podcast to do. So thank you for honoring me not only with the testimonial on iTunes, but also just for capturing the very essence of why I do this every day and what I wanted to accomplish. You know, we don't listen to the radio as much, nearly as we do, and I thought I never did morning drive radio, but I thought if you could get up in the morning and actually listen to something that you could use that day, rather than coffee or, a water cooler coffee talk kind of thing, I thought that would be really cool. So thank you for capturing the essence. And if you are so inclined and have favorable comments or suggestions, an iTunes review would be great. We have some really good exposure now when you search for astrology, and I'd love to hold that and even move it up a little farther. And that's how you could help me, is to just go over to iTunes and write a review. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, we have a full moon coming up. It's going to be, if you are anywhere but the East Coast, it's going to be today. So it's at 12:34 a.m. Saturday Eastern Time. So let's walk that back. 11:34 Central, 10:34 Mountain, and 9:34 p.m. West Coast Time. Now, that's at least obviously talking about the United States. You factor yours in the way it goes from there. But that will be a full moon in Pisces. So the moon has tipped today into Pisces already. It went in yesterday. So that gives us that Piscean, Neptunian spiritual connection. And I know some of you are probably right now saying, God, I don't need any more of that right now. It's like, we're all just kind of going like that. I'm hearing it from so many people. And like I said, looking at the chart with this huge mystic rectangle still right there in place, and now the moon is affected by that rectangle because one of the corners of the rectangle was Neptune. So this has been a spiritual deal. What's been hooked up? Neptune, the big three, the Virgo stack, and the North Node. Now, you'd have to be a listener to understand. That's my astrology talk. It's like my lingo. The big three. I think it's the big three, guys. I really, really do. We talked about that yesterday, and I just think that the big three are more powerful even than we gave them credit for. And I think that's what you're feeling. And I think it's connected to Chiron, the wounded healer. Chiron in mythology. That would be a quick Wikipedia search that would be worth it, because Chiron was immortal in mythology and actually created an arrow with a poison tip and gave it to, I believe it was Hercules, and got wounded in his own foot with his own arrow with the poison tip, but he's immortal. So he had a wound, but it wasn't fatal to him. It was fatal to anybody else. And he went to a cave, withdrew to a cave, and the intention of healing his wound, but it never healed. And then the story goes on. But you can catch the essence of Chiron from that. It's that wound that otherwise we would be able to get rid of, but it just seems to follow us. And in your chart where that shows up, if you call up Chiron or look up Chiron and then look at the house and the sign that Chiron is in, because I think that's connected. It's part of this. It's all part of this potpourri that we're that we're dealing with around this transformation. So that Pluto and Saturn are connected to our sun sign planets, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Venus, and that's tied to the North Node, and that's tied to the spirituality of Neptune, and now the Moon. I mean, you get the picture. I'm working with a friend of mine right now who is going through a really tough challenge. I mean, I thought I got gut whacked the other day. He is going through an equal or even greater gut whack because as a physician, he may even, I mean, there's just no telling what could happen with this. And, you know, I'm getting emails and Facebook message things and all kinds of stuff from people who are just, you know, they're like, help. And I get it. This is the transformational energy that is going to change everything. So I'm going to probably over the weekend do a podcast over on Subconscious Mind Mastery where we can unpack this some more. But that's basically what's going on. So, yeah, just check my Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast, and I'll have something up there again of how we can deal with this with more updated information. But the other big thing that happens tomorrow morning, now this will be 8 a.m. Eastern Time, Mercury will move into Libra first, and then at 10:15 Eastern, Venus tips into its home sign. And boy, I wish I had my sound effects. I would be playing some applause right now. I got to get those back because that's exactly what that deserves. Venus, a benefic planet. So what? I don't have enough time. We'll do that tomorrow. How about if we do that tomorrow? We'll talk about Venus as a benefic planet. Two benefic planets, I was going to say, Jupiter and Venus, but I'm not going to go down that path because you have got other things to do. So we'll cover that tomorrow, but just know that Mercury is going to be okay in Libra. Venus is going to be at home in love. The love planet is going to be in love at home. That starts tomorrow. So full moon tonight, that's when you do your releasing. So start working on your releasing lists. Take advantage of the moon in Pisces. That's like meditation and journaling and self-introspection on steroids. And then we'll have the full moon. Do a little ceremony tomorrow night. Release what you don't want in your life and get on the right side of Saturn and Pluto. That will be a lot better place to be as it starts to unshake the foundations of what doesn't serve us. See you tomorrow.